Hello everyone, good evening. Yes, just write your name in the chat box. Okay, just a minute. So today we are going to start with Java programming. Fine. So far what we have covered, guys, we have actually started with the Selenium training. And in Selenium, we have completed first component that is all about Selenium IT. If you remember, okay, Selenium IT, it is all about where you can perform record as well as you can perform playback activity, correct? So ID provides both functionality. We can record the script, you can play back. You'll be able to see entire script in the form of ready-made script because, you know, whenever you record, all the actions get recorded one by one. So you are able to observe, you know, every actions in the form of table, right? That script you can convert in any programming language supported by Selenium 2. But now, guys, what we are going to learn, we are going to start with Java programming. Why? Because our second component, Selenium WebDriver. Selenium WebDriver, it only support playback, guys. Here you can't perform any kind of recording facility. Okay, we don't have recording facility automatically. Whatever script you want to prepare, you just need to write a code for that. So for the perspective of script recording, guys, this is the topic or this is the particular core Java sessions that I'm going to start today. Okay. So first of all, Java is nothing but programming language. Why we need to learn any kind of programming language? See, language is a medium for communication, guys. Yes, two entities, they can communicate with each other through the common language only. If they are aware about common language, then only they can communicate. What happens in the term of software? See, whenever you are going to develop any software application, whenever you are going to test any software application, you should know the programming language. Okay, because language is a medium for communication. So guys, to develop quality application, for testing quality application, okay, how much software is quality, definitely you should know about programming language. So this is the way, or that is the reason, you know, we just need to learn, you know, programming language. Now, first of all, do you aware what is the history about this programming language? Programming languages, this is not a recent topic. There are so many languages are available in the market, but these programming languages will simply help you to develop the software application, right? Using programming language, we can implement some complex architectures, guys, and it will be simply implementing such a kind of application just to simplify user tasks, correct? But there are two families for programming languages. One is called low-level programming language. What is low-level programming language? Low level, here you will be able to see machine language, guys. Okay. So what is machine language? Very first, the developer has developed low level programming language, and the first category under low level, you will be able to see machine language. Machine language, can you guys tell me, this is your computer system, suppose. The system understand which language?
1 and 0.
Binary 0 and 1.
0. Very good. So can I call it directly binary? This is a binary form, right? 0101 combination, your system will understand. That means from the keyboard, suppose I'm writing hello, right? From the keyboard, I'm writing hello. Is my system will directly understand this is a hello English language? No. What happened internally? This is a system only understood binary form. So whatever you are typing through the keyboard, internally, there is a code conversion. Yes or no? Who does this code conversion? जो भी ये लैंग्वेज है, दिस इज अ इंग्लिश लैंग्वेज ना. आपने लिखा है हेलो, सो हेलो इज इंग्लिश लैंग्वेज, राइट? सो ये हर एक कैरेक्टर कैसे कन्वर्ट होगा? इन द फॉर्म ऑफ बाइनरी फॉर्म, गाइस. ओके, हेलो वर्ड डायरेक्टली कन्वर्ट किया जाएगा बाइनरी फॉर्म में. सो कैन एनीबॉडी टेल मी? ओके, बी ऑन म्यूट, इट्स वेरी डिस्टर्बेंस. बी ऑन म्यूट एवरीबॉडी. Once you join the session, please be on mute. Fine. So there is a question. if I'm passing hello, obviously system will never understand directly hello. So there is a code conversion, and then only system is able to print that information, okay, on side or inside a console. So guys, tell me how the code conversion is possible. Internally, there are some utilities used, correct ना? ये utilities का काम क्या है? Code को convert करना. So code conversion कैसे होगा? So we have some compiler guys, correct? We have some interpreter. जैसे कि compiler, interpreter, इनमें क्या difference है? Anybody? What the compiler will do? What the interpreter will do?
Compiler run the program all at a time, and interpreter run the program one by one.
Yes. Basically what happens, suppose I have 3 statements in my code, okay? What the compiler will do, it will execute entire program at once. So all 3 statements executed, and you know, you will able to see that if there any kind of error is available in your code, okay? But what happens in interpreter? Interpreter will do the same thing. Basically, दोनों का मतलब क्या है, technically how they are going to work, just understand. First of all, compiler, interpreter, both are used for code conversion. That means whatever source code you are writing. What do you mean by source program, guys? Whatever code you are writing, that can be English language, that can be any other language. Okay. Source को machine language में convert करना. This is the role of compiler and interpreter. But the execution, at the time of execution, there is a difference. कैसे? Compiler will execute complete program at once, but interpreter will execute line by line. Suppose line number 2 contains some error, immediately execution will stop. Okay, you have to first solve that error, and then only you are able to continue with line number 3. Okay, so interpreter will perform line by line conversion. Compiler will perform entire code conversion into machine level language. Simple. So source to machine में conversion करना, it is a responsibility of compiler, interpreter. So in machine language, what happens, you know, technically this language is nothing but native to your computer system, है ना? This is a binary language. So if you want to design any software application using machine language, I can say it comes under low level. So it is very difficult to program. It is very difficult to read or understand, guys. So after machine language, they introduce one more type, that is called assembly. Assembly language, you know, I can say this is useful for to develop any kind of processes, because assembly language again works on commands. What kind of commands, guys? Whatever the task you guys need to perform, it will simply follow some command. Example, move command, example, add command, example, sub command, something like that. Okay, push, pop, ye kya hai? These all are commands, correct? So assembly language, with the help of assembly also, we are able to develop the application. But this language simply follow the command. Again, there is a task. So how the command will understood by the particular software or system, because system understand only binary. So there is also we required code conversion. So in assembly language, who will convert the code? Internally, it use one utility that is called assembler. That utility is called assembler. Assembler will help assembly language to convert, you know, all the commands into binary, and then only system understand that binary and system will perform the operation. So this is a basic history. Very first in programming languages, there is a one category low level programming language. And in that low level, 2 languages they have implemented: machine language, assembly language. But if you observe, both languages are not easy to understand, easy to use. And that is the reason, you know, by the great developer, we got one more family under a programming languages. And that is nothing but high level programming language. Yes, everyone, is this point clear? What about high level? Let me tell you. High level programming languages, again here, let me write high level. Yes. Under high level, very first they simply design and develop one programming language that is called procedural oriented programming language. So what are these? Basically, why it is called high level? Let me tell you. High level programming language, it is similar to your English language. So here we don't require any kind of binary form to understand any kind of command. No. Only plain English statement you should know. Here we have a specific syntax. Only you guys need to follow the syntax. You are able to implement your logic. You are able to execute your script. Okay. So under high level, first of all, they have implemented one family that is called procedural oriented programming language. And guys, can you tell me what is meant by procedural oriented language? ये term का मतलब क्या है? Procedural. Yes, very good. C language comes under procedural. But very first we are discussing only procedural means what?
A top
Can
to
anybody
bottom
tell me?
approach, like it will execute in top to bottom form.
Anything else? See, the general
Structural-
meaning for procedural is what? Any kind of method, steps of process, or I can say steps of, the particular functionality that we can write to just complete your task. So guys, it can be any method, it can be any procedure, or it can be any kind of function, right? Procedural programming languages simply first focus on only and only function, guys. Means we are, or the developer can simply implement the logic, okay, by writing some function. Whatever the steps they need to perform, they are going to write separate functions for that, just to improve productivity. Okay, procedural oriented language simply improves the productivity. Obviously, in the development, there are some approaches. So procedural oriented programming language based on top to down approach, correct now? Top down approach के ऊपर based है. What else? Procedural oriented programming language, if you ask me about the data, how the data is simply defined, obviously inside a method, outside a method. Can I say that data is globally shared, guys? Data is globally shared in procedural oriented programming language. So let me represent in a diagrammatic way. See, suppose top function hai main function. That is the reason in every program, execution part will start with a main function. You should have first main function. So from main function, you can call other methods, correct now? Suppose I'm calling here F1 function. I'm calling here F2 function. I'm calling here F3 function. So every function you are able to call from this main function, right? So I can say main is calling other function, correct? Top to down. Now in this case, how the data is shared? Data is shared globally. That means same data you can access in function 1, same data we can access in function 2, and same data we can access in function number 3. So there is a problem. If you consider procedure-oriented programming language, data is globally shared so that any function can update the data, right? Again, if you want to solve a real-time complex scenario, this language is not sufficient to solve real-time complex scenarios. And that is the reason they have implemented object-oriented programming language. Okay. So what is the concept about high-level programming language? High-level programming languages are very, very popular. Still, we are using it. C programming is the very popular programming language, correct? Based on C, currently also they are implementing some applications right now. But nowadays they have some combination, procedural plus object-oriented combination they have. So guys, procedural programming language, I can say these languages simply follow top-down approach. Then function based होते हैं, मतलब its main focus is on function only. Data is globally shared and this will be problematic. Correct ना? तो various functions में आप code को design कर सकते हो just to improve the productivity. If you ask me the technical concept, how we can write a logic, there is a simple logic, guys. Every function you can write separately. Suppose this is my F1 function. Okay? This is a block. So curly braces, opening and closing curly brace. Here you can write a logic. Clear? Here we can write a logic. Suppose I'm writing function number 2. In this way, opening and closing curly brace, here we can write a logic. And guys, there is a main function who will call all these functions. Suppose I'm writing F1 and F2. What will happen this time? This time control goes to F1. है ना? Main function is the entry point, guys. Execution always start from main function. Simple. तो अगर main function से execution start होगा तो first line is available F1. So main function is called, I can say calling function. It is calling which function? F1. So what will happen? Control goes to that F1 function first. Whatever logic you have written, suppose I have written logic F1, so inside output window, I will be able to see logic F1, correct? Then control come back to the main again. So main में first statement executed successfully, so control goes to F2. Now the F2 again call guys. F2 के अंदर जो भी आपने लिखा होगा, that logic will execute logic F2. Then control again come back to the main function. There is no other any function available inside a main. So program execution simply stop here. So try to understand the pattern. Whatever you are writing inside a main, only that part executed and you will able to see the output of the code. Correct? So this is a pattern for procedural oriented programming language. Yes or no? Is the concept is clear? So let me show you. Programming languages allow programmers to develop the software application, guys. So there are two major families for programming. I can say low level language and the high level language. Under low level, there are two categories, machine language and the assembly language. What is meant by machine language? Machine language, it is all about binary form. That means it comprises of ones and zeros. It is native language of a computer, guys. Difficult to program, difficult to understand, and difficult to use also. So after that, they implemented assembly. What is assembly? I can say assembly languages are step toward easier programming. This will simply comprises of, set of elemental commands, which are tied to specific processor. Assembly language code need to be translated, obviously. System understand only binary. So there should be some translator required, right? And that is the reason we are using compiler, interpreter, and assembler. So assembly language code need to be translated to machine language before computer process it. And here we can follow assembler. Okay. Now guys, we have a high level programming languages. What is high level? High level programming languages represent giant leap toward easier programming. Syntax of high level language, it is similar to English. That is the reason it is very, very easy. High level languages are divided into two families, two groups. Again, procedural oriented and the object oriented. So what is procedural oriented? You have to focus only on a key point. As I told you, procedural oriented programming language only focus on the function. That means whatever you have to write or implement, you can prepare some functions for that. Clear? And then you can call that function through the main function. So main is the entry point. It is a starting point where the execution simply begin. Okay. So the key point for procedure oriented programming languages are what? It simply focus on the function, not directly on data. Data is globally shared, okay, along with these functions, and it follows top-down approach. And as I told you, whenever you want to implement some real-time applications, in that case, this particular pattern or this procedure-oriented programming language, it is not suitable, guys. That is the reason great developer, they have implemented one more approach under a high-level family that is called object-oriented programming language. Now the question, what is meant by object? Let me tell you, in real life or real-time scenario on this entire world, whatever you are able to observe, whatever you are able to see, you can touch something, right? You can simply use, okay, that everything is called object, guys. Object is any real-time entity. Object is any real-time entity which has some state and which has some behavior. That is called object. Whatever you can feel, touch, observe, that is called object. Let me explain you. Okay? See, there are some real world objects available. Obviously, everything, whatever you can observe now, laptop, mobile, pen, whatever it is, that is called object only. So there are some real world objects, and you have to understand how we can convert real world object into software object, guys. This is the pattern that we have to understand through this object-oriented programming language. So every real world object, what is happening? Every real world object which has some state and behavior, that we can call object. So there are two parameters, state, and I will say behavior. What is this? What do you mean by state? देखो, anything can be object ना, that we can feel, that we can touch, that we can observe. So that means, suppose I'm taking one example. I'm taking here one example. Let's say mobile. ठीक है, तो mobile is an object. What do you think, everybody? क्या mobile object है? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
So let's discuss some state and let's discuss some behavior. Can you guys tell me whatever the states of mobile and whatever the behavior of mobile? See, mobile के states मतलब क्या? Example, for every mobile device we are talking, okay? So mobile should have some mobile ID. What do you think? Model number, जिसको आप बोल सकते हो, right? Mobile ID. That is nothing but, I will say, model number. Correct. Anything else? There should be a name ना. Mobile का कुछ specific name होगा, right? Then the
Color.
particular size, yes. Color, very good. This
Brand.
is what I can say state. Yeah, brand. That is what I can say. These are what? These are called state. What is the behavior of mobile? Why you guys are using mobile? Can you guys tell me?
Calling.
Okay, for calling. Okay, anything else?
Session.
For
Operating.
searching. Maybe for playing some games. Correct na? So that
Yes.
means
Yes.
operating some features. Right. There are so many behavior or so many features that we can follow through the mobile. Can I call, this every state and every behavior, whenever any object or any real world entity which has some state and behavior, that is called object. So yes, it is true. Mobile is an object. Guys, as a human being, we also object. Correct now? Consider karo. Let me take another example, that is student. Suppose student. Every student which has some state, guys. What kind of state? Every student may have roll number. Correct? Every student may have, of course, name, some address, some phone number, this kind of information. This is called state. But tell me the behavior. Every student can read the data. Every student can write the data. Every student can talk. Every student can learn. Yes or no? So basically ये क्या है? This is a common behavior. Guys, in real world entity, whenever anything we have some state and behavior that we can call as an object. State can be different, guys. हर एक mobile के लिए state can be different, but behavior always common. Every particular student, the data can be different. Can I call roll number, name can be different, but behavior will be common, na? Yes. So how we can convert real world object in a software object? Every real world object which has two different entities or two different, I can say, information, state and behavior. So we can simply convert it into a software object. Kaise? Here, every state we can represent as a data member. Try to understand. Every state we can represent as a data member in a technical term. And every behavior we can represent as a member function.
Function.
Yes. So if you ask me what is an object, I can say object is a structure where the memory partition into two parts. One is called data, another one is called function. And this is a representation of object. So every real-time entity which has some state and behavior, nothing but data member and member function, that is called object. So guys, please understand the concept. Object-oriented programming language. Here the main component will be object. Everything, whatever you can feel, touch, observe, that is called object, which has some state, which has some behavior, that is called object. So I hope object क्या है ये सबको clear हुआ, correct ना? Okay. So guys, if I ask you,
ठेवता दार लावून घे रे.
please be on mute. Students, be on mute. Now suppose, as I told you, there are various students, name can be different. Example, I have some student whose name is, let's say, Sushant. Okay. Suppose his roll number, okay, consider roll number hai kuch 101. Fine, this is a one object. I can consider this is a one object. Suppose I have another name. Let's say name is Pooja. Suppose her roll number is 102. Correct? This is another object. Suppose I have another object, let's say name is, let's say Siley, and her roll number is maybe 103. Okay. So every user have a different data. So data can be different, guys. But suppose every user following same functionality, every user they can read, yes, they can write, yes, and they can simply talk to each other. Consider. तो ये सेम फीचर यहाँ पे भी है, रीड राइट एंड दे कैन टॉक, रीड राइट एंड दे कैन टॉक. सो व्हाट इज हैपनिंग गाइस? Group of common behavior, okay, group of common behavior of the object, this we can represent as a class. So here these are different student, S1 object, S2 object, maybe S3 object, but whatever the object they are sharing some common behavior, then we can simply represent it at what? Class. So in object oriented programming language there are two important components. One is called class, another one is called object. Let me tell you, class is always logical entity. Okay, class is always logical entity, but object can be logical plus physical. Okay, this is a one more interview question. So class is a logical entity, but object can be logical plus physical, guys. So why these two components are important? Try to understand. If anybody asks you what is a class, group of similar type of object, it is called class. Very simple. तो यहाँ पे 3 स्टूडेंट्स का एक ग्रुप है जिसको मैं डिफाइन कर सकती हूँ एज अ स्टूडेंट क्लास. यस और नो? करेक्ट ना? तो ग्रुप ऑफ सिमिलर टाइप ऑफ ऑब्जेक्ट यू कैन डिफाइन एज अ क्लास. तो in object oriented programming language, two important components are very important. I can say class and the object. There is a thin relation between both. Okay, see, every object is a logical and physical entity. If you want to represent the object, you require a class, guys. Technical term में class क्या है? Class is a template where you can represent the object. मतलब अगर मेरे पास एक object है, every object have its own data and own functionality. So try to understand, suppose this is a object 1. Okay, so because of this independent feature, you know, object oriented programming language, it is very secure programming language. I can say here the focus is not on function, focus is on data, guys, because every object contain separate data, separate function. Try to understand. ये होगा separate function and this is your obj2. So these are two different objects. How they are able to communicate? क्या वो directly data को share करेंगे with both objects? No, it is not allowed. They can communicate with each other directly by passing some function or by calling some function. Okay, so data security is more in procedural, in object oriented programming language than the procedural programming language, because focus is only on data security. Okay, third point, object oriented programming language, everything will be considered in the form of object, guys. इसीलिए class, object, these two are important pillars of the OOP programming language. Object oriented programming language always follow bottom up approach. What do you mean by bottom up approach? Yes, bottom up approach means what? We can design the functions first and then we can call it, right? मतलब पहले top functionality develop नहीं होगा. First they will implement some sub functionality. Whenever sub functionalities are ready, then only they can develop the top functionality. Are you understanding? This is called bottom up approach. Okay, top down में क्या होगा? First of all top module and then sub module. This is the way. Clear? This is called top down. So in object oriented programming language, it is simply bottom up. It follows bottom up approach. Okay, it has various principles, guys. I can say 4 important principles. It has principles which make this programming pattern or this type very strong. So कौन से principles है? These principles we are going to learn in a deep. Okay, we have encapsulation. Okay, second principle, polymorphism, and this is very common topic in any object oriented programming language. Third is inheritance, and the fourth one is data abstraction. These 4 principles will simply, make this particular programming pattern very, very strong. Okay. And because of this, we are able to implement any real-time application. Okay. We are able to handle a complex scenarios using object-oriented programming language. So is the point is clear? What is object-oriented programming language? I can say it mainly, just observe three important points. It focuses more and more on data, guys. It follows bottom-up approach. And here two important components are very, very important. So if you ask me a programming structure for object-oriented programming language, okay? So we should first start our code by creating class, guys. सबसे पहले आपको template required है, तो we are just going to create a class. Consider class name is student class. Okay, this is the block. Opening and closing brace. This is a scope of the class. Try to understand. यहाँ से यहाँ तक ये क्या है? This is a scope of the class. Within a class, you can write any kind of data. You can write any kind of function for an object. But if you want to call this, you just need to require, of course, main function. Main is the entry point, guys. यहाँ से आपका start होगा execution. Okay, this is just a pattern. So try to understand. Inside a main, we are able to write the statements that we can execute. मतलब अगर मैंने कोई function यहाँ पे define किया है, तो I can call this function. But yes, function and data, it is a part of class. So anything if you want to call inside a main, you just required object to create for that class. So without object, you can't access data and function. And without class, you can't use any kind of object. So class is a template where you can represent the object. An object is any real-time entity, or it is also called as instance of a class. क्या ये point आपको clear है? What is class and what is object? Don't worry, ये हम practically learn करेंगे. Before that, we should understand some more and more about this programming pattern and programming language. तो क्या पहला point सबको clear है? What is class and what is object? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Right? Okay. So let me show you. So as I have already discussed what is procedural language, so let's observe, guys. Procedural languages are characterized by a sequential set of linear commands. The focus of such a language is on structure. Okay. Examples include C, COBOL, Fortran, Lisp, you can say Perl, HTML, VB script. These all comes under procedural. Do you know which operating system is designed in C? Which operating system designed in C? Programming language. Guys, first Unix operating system developed by C. Okay. Object-oriented programming language. The focus of OOP languages is not on structure. मतलब function पे focus नहीं होगा. But it will be simply on modeling data. Programmer codes using blueprint of data model, that is called classes. Correct? We can write logic inside a class only. So what are the examples of OOP programming languages? I can say C++, Visual Basic, .NET, Java, Python. Python comes in both procedural plus object-oriented. So all these are what? Object-oriented programming languages. So if you focus on pattern, see this. Various function we can write. Function 1, function 2, function 3, right? And how the data will share. Data will share globally, guys. Everybody can access the data. But just observe object-oriented programming language. Here, everything will be represented in the form of object, which include two partitions, one for data, another one for function. Correct? Every object they can communicate not by passing any data. No, this communication is not possible. They can communicate only through the function. Everybody clear? So this is called object-oriented programming language. Now guys, before moving further, as I told you, object-oriented programming, what is the difference? It focuses on bottom-up approach, but procedure focus on what? Top-down approach. Procedure focus only and only on structure, that means function, but object-oriented programming language focuses on a data security. So every object along with data and function together, that is nothing but one unit. Okay. Object is any real-time entity that we can feel, that we can touch, that we can observe, and which has its state, which has its behavior. This is called object. Okay, so point is clear. What is procedural and what is object oriented? Now let's understand one more famous interview question. If you are writing in resume that you are aware about various programming language, maybe you are aware about C, C++, Java, okay, maybe Python. So people ask you, what is the difference in these three languages? Can you guys tell me? C, C++ and Java में क्या difference है? Yeah, the first difference is very easy. C is a procedural oriented programming language. It focuses on top-down approach. But C++ and Java, both are what? Object-oriented programming language. And this focus on what? I can say bottom-up approach. Correct? What else? Try. What else? Okay. Just observe. Very first, let's start with a programming paradigm. C is a procedural programming language. C++ is object-oriented. Java will be considered as a pure object-oriented programming language. Why pure? Because it has some features, okay, some extra features that will simply help Java to, simply use as a pure object-oriented programming language. Origin. So what is the base? I can say C programming language, it is based on assembly. C++ is developed based on C. Java programming language is developed based on C and the C++4. Now guys, the main important part, I can say developer, the famous developer who designed this beautiful programming languages for us, and so that we can use it to develop such applications or some test some applications, correct now? So everybody, you guys are already aware, right? Dennis Ritchie in 1972 developed C programming. Bajran Stubbs in 1979 developed C++. James Gosling in 1991 they developed Java, but actual use of Java started in 1995. Now the point, translator. So as I told you, whatever you are writing, that will be English statement. So machine only understand binary. So जो आप code लिखोगे, maybe you are following some syntax, right? How the system will understand whatever you have written? So there should be compiler or there should be some conversion. Okay, code conversion happen internally. So compiler, interpreter, this kind of utility we can follow for code conversion. So main task क्या है? Compiler, interpreter दोनों क्या करेंगे? Source program को machine understandable language में convert करेंगे. But see, in C programming only compiler use. In C++ again only compiler use. But in Java there is something written, interpreted. Java is an interpreted programming language. That means it uses both compiler, interpreter. How come? How it is so? Just observe everybody. What is happening, when you talk about Java and C++, first understand the concept of platform dependent or platform. First of all, tell me, chalo, platform क्या होता है? Let's talk about platform. Platform is anything, guys, any kind of hardware, any kind of software. Okay, the combination of hardware software, that is called platform. There are two patterns. अगर आप technically देखोगे तो platform क्या है? I will say it is a combination of operating system plus processor. This is called platform. Okay, there are two patterns. First is all about platform dependent, and second is all about platform independent. ये दो वर्ड्स में क्या मतलब है? When you talk about platform dependent means what? Yes, tell me. What do you mean by platform dependent and independent? If you just
The operating system will matter here.
Okay, so can I say that only whenever you are saying dependent, that means only one operating system, but processor can be any, na? Yes or no? This is the combination for platform dependent. Yes, only one operating system is supported, but processor can be any one. Okay, whenever you talk about platform independent, I can say here what is the formula? Any operating system plus any processor allowed. Yes or no? First point is clear. So guys, why we are discussing platform? Because C and C++ programming languages are platform dependent. Why platform dependent? Try to understand technically. Whenever you write a logic, suppose मैंने C का program लिखा है और C++ का code लिखा है. Whenever you are writing any logic, this logic, suppose you are writing a code on Windows operating system. Okay. Whenever you are executing this source program, it will take some resource directly from the operating system. Matlab it will utilize some memory directly from the operating system. So the execution pattern will be direct, guys. यहाँ पे execution किस वे से होगा? Direct होगा. So if I'm writing a code on Windows, I can execute a code only on Windows operating system. Same program I can't run on Linux. Are you understanding? This is called platform dependent. Only on one platform you are able to write a logic, you are able to execute your logic. Because whenever you are writing code, it will be executed directly through the operating system. Right? We are using some resource directly from the operating system. So the execution pattern will be direct. So ये दोनों programming language, in fact, C is a procedure and C++ is object oriented. Still both are platform dependent programming language. If you ask me about Java, Java is platform independent, guys. Why and how come? See, if you are writing any logic, ठीक है, मैंने code लिखा Java का. Consider there is my operating system Windows I have, fine. मुझे Windows पे run करना है, तो you are not able to run directly through the Windows. Here in Java, we require one extra layer on the top of the hardware that is called JVM, Java Virtual Machine. JVM is a platform dependent. Okay, so every operating system you will get the JVM. As per the operating system, you can download the JVM. I mean, you can use the JVM. Okay, I will explain you कि कहाँ से JVM आपको मिलेगा, right? But try और concept को understand करो. If you are writing it, any program, you are not able to execute directly through the operating system. Program will simply executed by JVM. JVM will use some resource from the operating system. Then whatever the reply will be there, the same result you are able to observe through your JVM. So there is execution, I can say, indirect execution. Everybody clear? So that is the reason Java code you can write once and you can execute on any operating system on any platform because it is completely platform independent programming language. क्या ये point सबको clear है? What is dependent and what is meant by independent?
Can
Yes
you tell
or
me
no?
again?
Yeah, which one? Dependent or independent?
Both.
How come you have joined late?
No, ma'am. It's a range issue, network
Okay,
issue.
fine.
Yeah.
So basically what is happening, we are discussing about the languages difference, C, C++ and Java difference. So C is a procedural programming language, C++ and Java both are object oriented. But as per a platform, we have two patterns. Languages can be platform dependent, languages can be platform independent. So if you're writing any C or C++ code, it will be executed directly from the operating system, right? So that is the reason it is platform dependent programming language. Okay, so you can write a code once, you can't execute on any other operating system directly. Okay, you have to write, अगर Linux पे run करना है, you have to write a code once again and then you are able to execute through the Linux. Because यहाँ पे जो execution होगा वो direct होगा. But if you consider about Java, you can write a logic. Java code never executed directly by the operating system. Here you will be getting some, external level or layer, I can say, on the top of the hardware that is called JVM, Java Virtual Machine. So whenever you are writing a logic, if you are running your code, the code will be executed directly from the JVM, not by the operating system. So here the process will be indirect process. And इसीलिए Java is nothing but what? Platform independent programming language. Let me explain you with one more beautiful concept. Everybody observe. If you are asking about, let's say C or C++, Do you know in C and C++ what will happen? Suppose I'm writing a logic. Consider मैंने code लिखा है hello.c, है ना? So first you have to write a code. Then guys, what we can do? We can compile it. Yes. Once you compile, which file it will generate? Tell me. .c फाइल जब आप कंपाइल करते हो तो डायरेक्टली exe फाइल मिलेगा? No. In compilation, you will be able to see hello.obj. .object file always you will get. ठीक है? फिर क्या होगा? हम ये object file को execute करेंगे. We will execute by the C shell. Correct? अब रन करोगे तो क्या होगा? After execution, you will be able to see hello.exe file. Are you understanding, everybody? ये concept समझ में आ रहा है? And this exe file, .exe file, it is platform dependent. ये file होता है platform dependent. So you can write a code once, and whatever platform you are using, on same platform it will be executed. Okay, you can't execute your code on different platform directly. अगर different platform पे run करना है, you have to write it once again, and then you can execute it. This is a concept for C and C++ programming language. Do not forget this. Let me explain you about Java. In Java, what happens? You are able to write a code. Of course, I will write something like this using .java extension. Okay. So .java will be the class, you can say your main test case or main code that you can write in this way. Obviously, what will happen once you write a logic? ठीक है, जैसे आप लोग ये क्लास में डेटा को फिल अप करोगे, it internally use one compiler. That compiler called Java C compiler. Java C compiler will simply compile the code. Compile करेगा, जैसे आप कोड लिखोगे line by line compilation automatic होगा. Then guys, once the code will compile, here which file it will generate? Java will simply generate hello.class file. What this class file will contain? Class file will contain bytecode which is not understandable by any human. Okay, आप इसको read नहीं कर सकते, आप इसको understand नहीं कर पाओगे. That is a bytecode. ठीक है? So once you execute, now tell me how the Java program we can execute. कैसे execute करोगे Java program? कहाँ से execute होगा? Tell me. You are able to execute it through what?
JVM.
JVM, no? Yes. What the JVM will do? JVM is a Java virtual machine. JVM execute .class file means read. It read bytecode line by line. So tell me, whose responsibility is this line by line code को run करना, execute करना? Interpreter. So here JVM will simply act as an interpreter. So guys, basically what the JVM will do, JVM will read this class file, whatever the bytecode is written inside that class file, it will be executed directly by the JVM. But kaise? Line by line. So that is a reason Java is an interpreted programming language, because it follows compiler plus interpreter. Are you understanding? So guys, your file generation wala jo topic hai, it is also very, very important. At the end, which file you'll be able to see. Okay, with that, just remove everything. Don't scribble. Remove that line. So in Java, Java is a completely interpreted programming language. We can use compiler, interpreter both. Okay, तो आप जैसे कोड लिखोगे, internally Java से compiler use होगा, it will compile your logic. And then you will be able to see class file, which contains some bytecode. Bytecode will be understood only and only by the JVM. So JVM will read that bytecode line by line. So JVM is acting here as an interpreter. So guys, if the people ask you which file you will get in the C or C++ code, so exe file you will get. But in Java, you will get .class file. This point you need to remember. So guys, here the class file will be platform independent. Same class file you can execute on any platform. You can execute on Windows, Linux, Mac, any platform. And that is the reason Java program you can write once and you can execute it on any platform. Write once, execute on any platform. I hope the difference between C, C++ and Java, it is clear. Yes or no? So we are discussing translator. Why we require compiler and compiler in C, C++ point is clear. And why we require interpreted language, that is compiler interpreter in Java, the point is clear or not? Tell me. Yes, everyone. Array, reply karo. 54 students I can see. Reply.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
So in terms of platform dependency, already we have discussed. C is
Yes.
platform dependent, C++ platform dependent, but Java is a platform independent. Because of class file, because of JVM, it is platform independent. Code execution, C में directly execute होगा, C++ में भी code direct execute होगा by the operating system. But in Java, you require this virtual machine, JVM. Through the JVM, we are able to execute the code. Approach, obviously top-down approach follows in C, but in Java and C++, both are object-oriented. That is the reason bottom-up approach. If you observe file generation, guys, .exe file we can use in C, correct? .exe file you will be getting in C++, but Java, you can see .class file. This is a main difference. This you need to observe, this you need to understand. Now guys, there are few more. This example, आप C, C++ में code जैसे start करोगे, you have to include some header file, correct ना? So pre-processor directories क्या होते हैं? तो generally we require some header file जो आप hash signature से add करते हो, right ना? Hash include stdio.io.n, something like that, right? यहाँ पे भी same है. C++ में भी we can simply add some pre-processors. But in Java, we don't require it. हम लोग कोई भी हैश सिग्नेचर से हम कोई भी हेडर फाइल को ऐड नहीं करेंगे, because in Java usually everything will be considered in the form of class and the object. So group of classes you can define with the help of package. तो package क्या है? Package is like a container which will keep all the information about the classes. तो group of classes आप maintain कर सकते हो, ठीक है? तो ये package हम use करेंगे Java में. तो in Java we can't add any header file, we can import some packages. Now let me talk about keyword. Java में कितने keyword supported है? Keyword मतलब होते हैं reserve words, guys. Whenever you are writing code, you should understand some reserve words. Using these words, you can simply write a logic, correct ना? So Java में generally 50 keywords are available, but in C we have 32, in C++ we have 63 keywords. So these are the reserve words. Reserve words have some rule, guys. These reserve words you can't use for any kind of, I can say, variable name. As a variable name, as an object name, you can't write. Okay. तो ये एक rules है, ये rules हम practically सीखेंगे. Then if you observe inheritance, overloading, these are what I can say object-oriented principle. Obviously, C is not object-oriented programming language, so inheritance is not support, overloading is not support. But in Java, C++, it is supported. Okay, inheritance is supported in Java. Also inheritance is supported except multiple inheritance. So we have 5 different types to study in inheritance: single level, multi-level, hybrid, I can say hierarchical and multiple. तो ये 5 types के according आपको ये समझ में आएगा टॉपिक. अभी के लिए just go through करो. Overloading, ये भी हम practically learn करेंगे. So overloading, overriding, it is a concept of polymorphism. Whenever you need to use one thing in variety of form, we can use polymorphism principle. तो यहाँ पे support होता है method overloading के लिए, same support we have in Java. What is pointers? Very interesting topic. देखो, programming languages में if you want to store anything, suppose I want to store 100, we can store directly inside the memory. Suppose this is my RAM, I can store directly 100 inside a memory. Obviously we should require first storage. पहले storage को create करो, and then only inside a storage you are able to save your or store your data. So we use variable concept, correct ना? What is variable? Variable is the name of storage, है ना? तो अब example, ये मुझे data store करना है 100, so we can define a data type. So we require some data type, guys. कि अगर आपके पास number है, तो we can use integer data type. अगर आपके पास कुछ डेटा स्टोर करना है, समथिंग लाइक दिस नेम, तो यू कैन यूज स्ट्रिंग टाइप, करेक्ट। तो आप इस वजह से डेटा टाइप को यूज करोगे। तो आई विल बी राइटिंग समथिंग लाइक दिस, अभी के लिए इंटीजर a इज इक्वल टू 100. So 100 is my actual data. A is the name of variable and this is the type. Correct? So automatically जैसे आप ये स्टेटमेंट लिखोगे, what will happen? मेमोरी में एक स्टोरेज क्रिएट होगा जिसका साइज होगा 4 बाइट. Okay, because as per the type, it will internally occupy some memory. तो 4 बाइट साइज है, नेम है A and ये स्टोर कर रहा है 100. तो अब ये तो आपका नॉर्मल डेटा है, बट व्हाट इज अ पॉइंटर? Pointer is a very special variable. Pointer will never store data. Pointer will store address of element or address of that data. मतलब एग्जाम्पल क्या होता है, जैसे कि 100 यहाँ पे स्टोर होगा, इस लोकेशन का कुछ ना कुछ मेमोरी एड्रेस होगा. सपोज 2001 is the memory address. What is this? Memory address. So pointer variable are such a kind of variable which will not store any kind of data, guys. ये आपका नॉर्मल वेरिएबल का काम है. बट अगर मुझे इस वेरिएबल का मेमोरी एड्रेस स्टोर करना है तो वी कैन यूज पॉइंटर. सो द कोड यू कैन राइट समथिंग लाइक दिस. आई विल बी डिक्लेयरिंग पॉइंटर वेरिएबल. एग्जांपल इंटीजर. दिस इज वेरी स्पेशल पॉइंटर वेरिएबल. इंटीजर p स्टार, मतलब ये स्टार इंडिकेट इट इज अ पॉइंटर वेरिएबल. If I'm writing pointer variable and address of the variable, no, address of the variable, address of the data. So I will write and a person sign for address. Address of what? Address of A. इस वे से आप कोड को लिखोगे. तो मतलब पॉइंटर के p वेरिएबल में क्या स्टोर होगा? 100 स्टोर होगा. टेल मी. नो.
मेमोरी लोकेशन
मेमोरी लोकेशन
2001.
मतलब 2001. ऑब्वियसली. तो पॉइंटर विल ऑलवेज स्टोर एड्रेस ऑफ द डेटा. तो ये जो कंसेप्ट है ना, पॉइंटर एंड ऑल, इट इज सपोर्टेड इन सी, इट इज सपोर्टेड इन C++, but in Java, the very beautiful feature, Java doesn't require anything to store any address and all. तो Java में pointer is not supported. It will simply simplify your logic. So pointer is supported in C and C++, but we don't have a support in Java. Exception handling, जैसे मैंने बताया था रोबोट है, तो रोबोट कैन नॉट हैंडल एनी काइंड ऑफ एरर ऑटोमेटिकली, करेक्ट ना. एक्सेप्शन हैंडलिंग you will be able to see in C++ and Java, but not in C programming language. Allocation, it is all about memory allocation, deallocation. कैसे होगा? तो allocation करना है, deallocation करना है, तो C में कुछ methods यूज होते हैं, malloc, calloc करके, है ना. New, delete, these kind of keywords we can follow in C++, but in Java we have a special, like JVM will take care everything, guys. So internally JVM will simply have garbage collector. This garbage collector will simply, remove unnecessary memory or unnecessary variable which is occupied inside a JVM. तो JVM को clean करना है ना, JVM को up to date रखना, ये किसका काम होगा? Internally it is handled by the garbage collector. So as a programmer, as a tester, you don't need to worry about this part because it will be handled and taken care by JVM. But this difference is very, very important. And I hope you guys are clear. Yes or no? Yes, student. Okay, so today let's stop the session here. Tomorrow we will continue with the rest of the topics. Okay. And yes, whatever the messages I'm getting that you are not able to receive notes and the emails or maybe recording, guys, let me explain you one point. ये जो भी डेटा होगा, नोट्स होगा, everything you'll be able to see or through you will get it through the email only. As I have already discussed this point, आपको जो भी मिलेगा वो ईमेल के थ्रू मिलेगा. तो you have to share your email ID in the Google document. जो मैंने फॉर्म आपके व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप पे शेयर किया था, आपको वहीं पे ईमेल आईडी शेयर करने हैं. इट इज वेरी डिफिकल्ट फॉर मी आल्सो कि आपकी ईमेल्स को कॉपी पेस्ट करो एंड एवरीडे शेयर करो. आई कैन सी 58 रिस्पॉन्सेस आर अवेलेबल इन दैट ईमेल डॉक्यूमेंट. ओके, अगर किसी ने शेयर नहीं किया है, आई विल बी शेयरिंग दैट ईमेल डॉक्यूमेंट वंस अगेन. चेक इट कि आपने शेयर किया है. अगर आपने शेयर किया है देन यू विल गेट इट. तो नोट्स एंड एवरीथिंग अगेन टुडे आई एम शेयरिंग. जस्ट गो थ्रू करो, देखो कि वहां पे अवेलेबल है. टुमारो द लिंक विल बी चेंज फॉर दिस बैच, तो आई विल बी शेयरिंग न्यू लिंक. ओके फॉर दिस बैच। जितने भी लोग आपके ग्रुप में अवेलेबल है, ठीक है, ऑफिशियल ग्रुप में, ओनली दो स्टूडेंट्स यू विल गेट दिस न्यू लिंक फॉर अ जावा ट्रेनिंग और सेलेनियम ट्रेनिंग। इज दिस क्लियर? तो ये लिंक आप यूज नहीं कर पाओगे फॉर द सेशन। See, still I'm not able to understand, or I will I'm not getting any kind of information from your institute कि भाई इसमें कुछ ऐड करो या कितने स्टूडेंट्स को ऐड करना है, अलाउड करना है। So I'm sharing to everyone. But इसके बाद जो आपका ईमेल का सॉर्टिंग होगा, okay, after that only you will be able to see the recording. So जो भी queries है, जो भी points रहेंगे, you can directly discuss with your HR. बिकॉज पर्सनली मैं किसी के ईमेल आईडी को डायरेक्टली डेटा शेयर नहीं करूंगी। दीज आर माय पर्सनल नोट्स, आई एम नॉट गोइंग टू शेयर इट यू डायरेक्टली। यू गाइस नीड टू कंफर्म इट, ओके? तो वेट फॉर सम टाइम, यू विल गेट इट। एंड टुडे जितने भी रिकॉर्डिंग्स, आई मीन टू से जितने भी ईमेल आईडीज मेरे पास अवेलेबल है, आई विल बी शेयरिंग इट, ओके? तो यू कैन जस्ट यू विल गेट इट, जस्ट गो थ्रू करो। अटैचमेंट में नोट्स अवेलेबल है, मैंने पहले भी 2-3 बार शेयर किया है, एक बार फिर से चेक करो। अटैचमेंट में आपको नोट्स मिलेगा एंड यू विल गेट ईमेल आल्सो, दैट रिकॉर्डिंग आल्सो। यस संजना, यू विल गेट एवरीथिंग, ओके? सो दैट्स ऑल फॉर द डे। फॉलो द रूल्स एवरीवन एंड ट्राई टू अटेंड सेशन एवरी डे। एज आई टोल्ड यू, जितने लोग अटेंड करेंगे यू विल गेट द सेशन, रिकॉर्डिंग, नोट्स, एवरीथिंग, ओके? बट एवरी डे द अटेंडेंस शुड बी मेंटेन। दैट्स ऑल। Fine. So let's stop the session and we will continue again from tomorrow. Yes, जिनको नहीं मिला है, just share your email ID in that particular document. You will get it everything. Don't worry. Yeah, Pranav, tell me. नागेश सरांचं lecture आहे. Yes, Pranav. Is Pranav is there? Yeah, Pranav, tell me. कब लेक्चर है सर का? नो, आई एम नॉट एबल टू हियर यू। ओके फाइन, चलो। सो लेट्स कंटिन्यू टुमारो एवरीवन। बाय एवरीवन, टेक केयर। या टेल मी।
For how many days your recordings will be valid?
Yeah, it will be valid for 6 months, 3 to 6 months.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so you just need to prepare well. Okay, at 9:15. Okay, fine. That's okay. You can just continue with that session, okay? Bye everyone, take care. Thank you.